Mark and Lisa were a young couple from a small town. They'd been together for a few years, sharing dreams about their future. Both of them worked hard, Mark as a mechanic and Lisa as a school teacher. Life was busy for them with jobs and daily routines. They'd always wanted to take a break, to relax, and spend some quiet time together. Finally, in the summer of 1997, they planned a vacation that would change their lives forever. They found a small beach house for rent on a peaceful stretch of coast far from the city. The house was old but charming, with a porch that looked out to the ocean. It was the perfect place for them to rest. Mark and Lisa packed their bags with excitement and drove many miles to reach their new temporary home. They talked about the days ahead, waking up to the sound of waves, walking on soft sand, and watching sunsets together. It felt like a dream come true. When they arrived, the weather was warm and sunny. The beach house sat near a quiet neighborhood with only a few other homes nearby. Most of the neighbors were older people who lived there year-round or visited often. Everyone seemed friendly and welcoming. Mark and Lisa quickly settled in, unpacked their clothes, and made the small kitchen ready for cooking simple meals. They even bought some fresh fish and vegetables from a local market to enjoy during their stay. On the first day, the couple walked along the beach, holding hands and laughing. They talked about their plans to visit local shops, try new foods, and maybe go sailing. The town was small but pretty, with colorful houses and shops that sold souvenirs and handmade goods. People waved and said hello to Mark and Lisa as they passed by. It seemed like a happy place, perfect for a peaceful vacation. That evening, Mark and Lisa cooked a nice dinner together. They ate on the porch, watching the sun slowly go down behind the ocean. The sky was painted with orange, pink, and purple colors. They felt calm and content. After dinner, they sat on the porch chairs talking about their future hopes. Lisa dreamed of becoming a school principal one day, and Mark hoped to open his own repair shop. For now, though, they were just enjoying their time away from work and stress. The next few days were much the same. Mark and Lisa enjoyed walking on the beach, swimming in the ocean, and reading books while listening to the waves. They talked to neighbors sometimes, who shared stories about the town and its history. The couple was careful not to bother anyone or make noise. They respected the quiet spirit of the place. To them, this vacation was a chance to slow down and reconnect. But then, after about 3 days, things began to feel a little different. Lisa noticed some neighbors acting strangely. A few people who had been friendly before started avoiding them. When Lisa waved, some just looked away. Mark also felt that some eyes watched them closely, especially when they left the beach house to go into town. They did not say anything to each other at first, but both felt a small worry growing inside. One afternoon, while Mark was fixing a small leak in the bathroom, a neighbor named Mr. Collins stopped by. He was an older man with a serious face. He asked Mark questions about where they were from and how long they planned to stay. His tone was polite but firm. Mark answered carefully, feeling a bit uncomfortable. Mr. Collins said he hoped they enjoyed the town but warned them to be careful about strangers and to respect some local rules that were important in the community. Mark was puzzled but nodded quietly. Later, Lisa told him she had overheard a conversation between some neighbors. They were talking in whispers about people who did not belong or who brought trouble. Lisa felt uneasy but tried not to let it ruin their trip. She thought maybe the neighbors were just protective of their small town. Still, the feeling of being watched stayed with them. One evening, Lisa went out to buy some groceries. On her way back, she noticed a group of people standing near the beach house. They did not greet her, and their faces looked cold. She hurried inside and locked the doors. Mark noticed her tension and asked what was wrong. Lisa said she felt like they were not welcome anymore, and that something was not right. Mark wanted to stay positive. He said maybe it was just their imagination. But deep down, he felt the same worries. The next day, they tried to act normal, but the strange silence from neighbors was clear. No one smiled or said hello. When they went to the local cafe, the owner barely looked at them. Mark and Lisa began to realize they might be outsiders in this quiet town, and it made them nervous. Then, one morning, Mark stepped outside and found a note taped to the front door. It had no signature, but the message was clear. "Leave now. or face the consequences. Mark showed it to Lisa, and they both felt fear for the first time. They wondered who wrote the note and why. They decided to keep it to themselves for now, hoping it was just a prank or a mistake. As the days passed, the couple found more signs of warning. Their car was keyed and strange noises came from outside at night. Their phone line was sometimes cut off. Mark and Lisa felt trapped and scared, but did not want to give up on their vacation so quickly. They talked about calling the police, but worried that it might make things worse. One afternoon, Mark found a small hole in the back fence. It looked like someone had been watching the house. Lisa wanted to leave right away, but Mark suggested they stay just one more day to gather their things. They packed some bags, but decided to wait for morning before driving away. That night, neither of them slept well. Every sound made them jump. They locked the doors and windows tightly. Lisa wished they could go back home, where life was safer and simpler. Mark promised her they would leave the next day no matter what. But when morning came, Mark and Lisa were gone. No one saw them leave, and their car was still parked in front of the beach house. Inside, their belongings were untouched. Their clothes hung in the closet, their food sat in the kitchen, and their personal items stayed on the tables. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. The neighbors said nothing at first. Some pretended not to notice, while others whispered quietly about the couple's disappearance. Days turned into weeks, and the police were called to investigate. Officers searched the house and nearby areas but found no sign of Mark or Lisa. There were no footprints on the beach or tracks in the sand. No phone calls or messages came from the couple. The mystery grew bigger. Friends and family back home were worried and confused. They had no idea why Mark and Lisa disappeared or where they could be. The police interviewed neighbors, but most said they had not seen anything unusual. Some refused to talk, and others seemed afraid. The beach house stayed empty. It became a place people avoided. The local community whispered about the strange events, but no one had answers. The disappearance of Mark and Lisa became a quiet secret, a story people told with a mixture of fear and sadness. The summer that started with hope and joy ended. In confusion and silence, years passed, but no clues were found. The case went cold. Mark and Lisa were never seen or heard from again. Their families never stopped hoping for answers, but had to live with the pain of not knowing. The beach house waited silently by the shore, holding the secrets of that summer long ago. After Mark and Lisa vanished from the beach rental, the town was filled with questions. The police worked hard in the beginning, searching the house and the nearby area many times. They checked the beach, the woods, and even the roads leading away from the town, but no clues appeared. No footprints, no signs of struggle, no messages, nothing. It was like the couple had disappeared into thin air. This made everyone confused and worried. The families of Mark and Lisa were heartbroken. Their friends could not understand how they could just vanish. Mark's parents remembered him as a kind, hard-working young man. Lisa's family described her as gentle and full of life. No one thought they would ever leave without telling anyone. Phone calls, too. Their homes went unanswered. Letters and messages were sent, but returned with no reply. The police kept the case open, but as days turned into months, the trail grew cold. With no evidence or witnesses, the investigation slowed down. New officers took over, and the case files gathered dust. The small town itself tried to move on. Life went back to normal for most people. But the disappearance of the young couple was never forgotten. Over the years, the beach rental house changed hands several times. New owners came and went, but no one stayed long. The house had a strange feeling to it. Some people said it felt haunted. By the memory of Mark and Lisa, neighbors often talked about the silence around the property. No lights in the windows at night, no sounds of life inside. The house stood empty, slowly falling into disrepair. Many in the town had their own ideas about what happened. Some believed Mark and Lisa had run away together, maybe to start a new life far from the town. Others whispered darker stories. Perhaps they were hurt or kidnapped. But no one could say for sure. The mystery became a part of the town's history, told quietly and carefully by those who remembered. As the years passed, people stopped looking for the couple. The police files were put away, and the families tried to heal. Life continued, but the pain of not knowing stayed with them. Mark and Lisa became a memory, a question that never had an answer. Meanwhile, the beach house remained empty. The paint peeled from the walls, and the windows grew dusty. The garden became overgrown with weeds and wild plants. Some neighbors felt sad to see it like this. The house, once full of hope, was now a silent witness to the mystery. In the town, a few people kept the story alive. An old local librarian saved newspaper clippings and police reports about Mark and Lisa. She said it was important to remember, so the couple's story would not be lost. Sometimes visitors to the town would ask about the missing couple. The librarian would tell them the story carefully, warning them that the truth was still unknown. The beach town itself slowly changed over the decades. New families moved in, and the old neighbors grew older or moved away. The mystery of the vanished couple became something of a legend. People told it to children as a cautionary tale about being careful when visiting new places, and about secrets that sometimes hide beneath the surface. In 2023, 26 years after Mark and Lisa disappeared, the house was put up for sale again. It had been empty for many years, and the new owner wanted to fix it up. Sarah was a woman in her early 30s who loved old houses and stories. She had moved to the town hoping to start fresh and found the beach house for a good price. Was excited to restore it and give it new life. Sarah was curious about the house's past. When she bought it, the neighbors warned her gently about the disappearance and the strange history. But Sarah was not afraid. She believed every old house had secrets, and she wanted to discover them. She thought maybe by fixing the house, she could bring happiness back to that place. As Sarah began her work, she cleaned the rooms carefully. She removed old furniture left behind by previous owners and swept away years of dust. The smell of salt and old wood filled the air. She felt a connection to the house, even though it was quiet and empty. Sometimes she thought she heard faint sounds, like whispers or the ocean's waves, but she told herself it was only her imagination. While painting the walls, Sarah noticed something strange about the living room. One wall seemed thicker than the others, and the wallpaper was newer in one section. Curious, she tapped the wall and heard a hollow sound. She pulled on a loose panel and found a small hidden door. It was old and dusty, covered by the wallpaper, and hidden from view. Sarah's heart beat faster. She opened the door carefully and saw a narrow room behind it. The room was dark, but smelled like it had been closed for a long time. She turned on her flashlight and stepped inside. The secret room was small, with old boxes and dusty furniture. It looked like someone had used it to hide things or to keep something private. Among the boxes, Sarah found some old photographs. She recognized the faces Mark and Lisa. The pictures showed the couple smiling and happy. Taken during their vacation in 1997, it was as if the room had been frozen in time. Along with the photos, Sarah discovered a leather-bound journal. The cover was worn, but the pages inside were still readable. Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and sadness. She knew this discovery could explain the mystery of the vanished couple. She carefully took the journal and photographs and promised herself to learn their story. She called the local police and told them about the hidden room. They were surprised and interested. After all these years, new evidence had finally appeared. The police came to the house and looked at the secret room. They took the journal and photographs for further examination. The discovery opened new questions. Why had the room been hidden? And what did Mark and Lisa write in their journal? Could the answers explain what really happened to them? The families of Mark and Lisa were contacted. They were shocked but hopeful that this new discovery could bring the truth. For decades they had lived with uncertainty. Now, after so many years, it seemed like the mystery might finally be solved. Sarah's discovery brought fresh attention to the old case. Reporters came to the town, and the story spread. People wanted to know what was inside the journal and what secrets the hidden room held. The quiet beach town became a place of curiosity and hope. The story of Mark and Lisa, once a sad mystery, was now a chance for answers and healing. The discovery showed that even after many years, the past could still speak. And sometimes, Hidden places hold the truth waiting to be found. Sarah had never expected her new beach house to hide such a secret. After discovering the hidden door and secret room, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She wondered why no one had found the room before. As she cleaned and explored the small space, she found more belongings left behind: old clothes, some personal items, and most importantly, the journal and photographs of Mark and Lisa. The photographs were gentle and full of happiness. Mark and Lisa smiled brightly, holding hands on the beach, standing in front of the small town shops, and sitting on the porch of the very house Sarah now owned. These pictures told the story of a couple who had been full of hope and dreams. The journal, however, was something else. It was worn and heavy with years, but Sarah could tell it had been written carefully and with purpose. She sat down with the journal and began to read. The handwriting was neat, sometimes hurried, but always clear. It was Lisa's diary. It told the story of their vacation from her own eyes. Lisa wrote about the first days in the beach house, how peaceful and beautiful everything was. She described the ocean, the smell of salt air, and how happy she was to be with Mark. She wrote about their simple joys: walking on the sand, collecting shells, and watching sunsets. At first, everything seemed perfect, but as Lisa's entries continued, the tone began to change. She wrote about feeling watched and uneasy. She described neighbors who no longer smiled or greeted them. Lisa wrote about overhearing whispers and feeling like they did not belong. She wrote about Mr. Collins, the serious older man who warned them about local rules, and how that made her afraid. One entry stood out. Lisa wrote about finding strange things around the house, things that did not belong. She mentioned seeing unusual visitors late at night and hearing quiet conversations that stopped when she came near. She wrote about feeling trapped and scared, but also determined to stay strong for Mark. The last entries were the hardest to read.
Oh.
Lisa wrote about a hidden door she found but had not told Mark about yet. She wrote that they might have uncovered something important, something dangerous. She feared for their safety, but also believed that they could find a way out. Lisa's words showed courage mixed with growing fear. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she read. She could almost hear Lisa's voice, full of hope but weighed down by worry. The diary ended suddenly. With no explanation of what happened next, the police were very interested in the diary and photographs. They believed this new evidence could unlock the mystery that had remained unsolved for almost 3 decades. Sarah gave the items to the local detective in charge of the case. The detective promised to review the journal carefully and compare it with other evidence from the time. As the police worked on the new information, Sarah continued her renovations on the house. She felt a deep connection to Mark and Lisa. She wanted to bring peace to the home that had once been filled with hope and now held so many secrets. She cleaned every corner, repainted walls, and fixed broken windows. The house slowly began to feel alive again. While the police investigated, they discovered more clues hidden in the journal.
Ow.
Lisa had mentioned seeing a few strangers visiting the town quietly, people who did not seem to live there. She also wrote about a secret meeting she overheard in a nearby building. The meeting involved discussions about something illegal, something the couple did not fully understand but feared was dangerous. The detective spoke with the neighbors again, sharing details from the journal. Some neighbors, who had been silent for years, now spoke quietly. They admitted there had been suspicious activities in the town. Back in 1997, they were afraid to say anything then, but hoped the truth would come out now. One neighbor revealed that the previous owner of the beach house had been involved in illegal business, smuggling goods through the coast. The couple might have found out about this and become a threat to those involved. The secret room may have been their hiding place. A way to protect themselves from danger, this new information explained. Why the neighbors had acted strangely, and why Mark and Lisa had disappeared without a trace. They were hiding to stay safe. But something had gone wrong. Police now had a new direction for their investigation. They began looking for people connected to the illegal business, and searched for evidence that could prove what happened. The families of Mark and Lisa were both grateful and relieved to hear the truth was being uncovered. For years they had lived with questions and pain. The idea that the couple had tried to protect themselves gave meaning to their disappearance. Meanwhile, Sarah became a small part of the story. She met with the families and shared the journal and photographs. They thanked her for bringing new hope. Sarah felt honored to help, even though she only wanted to fix an old house. She realized sometimes the past waits quietly until someone is ready to listen. As the police worked, the town slowly opened up about the past. People began to share stories that had been hidden for years. The beach town, once full of silence and fear, started to heal. Mark and Lisa's story became a symbol of courage and hope. Sarah kept the secret room clean and safe. She made it a special place where visitors could come to learn about the couple. The house was no longer empty and sad, but a place of remembrance. Visitors came from near and far, wanting to see where Mark and Lisa had stayed and to hear their story. The hidden room, once forgotten and locked away, became a beacon of truth. It showed that even when time passes and hope fades, the truth can still come to light. Mark and Lisa's courage inspired many, reminding people to never give up. Even in the darkest times, Sarah often thought about the couple. She imagined what their lives might have been if they had been safe. She wished she could have met them and told them they were not forgotten. But she knew that by finding their story, she had helped give them a voice. The investigation continued. The police followed new leads and worked to bring justice for Mark and Lisa. They believed that soon the mystery would be solved. The hidden room was more than a secret space. It was the key to a long-lost truth. After the discovery of the hidden room in Lisa's journal, the police felt renewed energy to solve the mystery of Mark and Lisa's disappearance. The journal revealed much more than anyone had expected. It showed that the couple had found something serious, something dangerous linked to the town's secret past. Now the police had a clear direction and were determined to uncover the truth. With the new information, detectives began carefully reviewing old case files. They looked for any clues that had been missed before. They talked to more people in the town, especially those who had been quiet for years. Some were afraid at first to speak, but as the investigation reopened, more voices were heard. The police discovered that several people living in the town at the time had connections to illegal business activities. These were secret operations that used the coastal area to smuggle goods without being noticed by the authorities. The beach house where Mark and Lisa had stayed was close to a hidden dock used for these activities. According to the journal, Mark and Lisa had accidentally discovered the secret when they saw strange boats arriving late at night. They also overheard conversations about the illegal work. The couple realized that the people behind this business might want to keep it hidden at any cost. This explained why the neighbors acted strangely and why Mark and Lisa were afraid. The secret room in the house was likely built as a safe place to hide. Lisa had written about it being a refuge during those scary days. They may have gone there to stay safe from people who wanted to silence them. But after their disappearance, no one had known where to find them or if they had escaped. The police searched the town and nearby areas for evidence. They looked for signs of the smuggling business and anyone who might have been involved. Slowly, pieces of the puzzle started coming together. They found old shipping records, boats registered, 2 suspicious owners, and hidden storage areas. Detectives interviewed people connected to the illegal business. Some denied everything, but others, facing the new evidence, began to talk. They explained how the smuggling worked and admitted that they were afraid of Mark and Lisa because the couple could have exposed them. It became clear that the couple's disappearance was tied to these illegal activities. The police found proof that some people had tried to warn Mark and Lisa to leave quietly. But when the couple did not, the situation became dangerous. Lisa's journals showed their fear, but also their hope to find a way out. Unfortunately, something went wrong, and they had to hide in the secret room. The exact details of what happened next were still unclear. The investigation also revealed that after the disappearance, some people tried to cover up the truth. Neighbors who knew more stayed silent. Some even changed their stories to protect themselves. This made it harder to find out what really happened to Mark and Lisa. Despite these challenges, the police were determined to bring justice. They continued to gather evidence and prepare charges against those involved in the smuggling operation. The families of Mark and Lisa followed the news closely. For the first time in many years, they felt hopeful that the truth would be revealed. Sarah, the new owner of the beach house, stayed close to the story. She worked with the families and police, offering her help.
Ow!
She organized small gatherings at the house, where people could come together to remember Mark and Lisa. The community began to heal. Sharing memories and supporting each other, the beach house itself became a symbol of courage. Where once it had been a place of mystery and fear, now it stood as a reminder of bravery and hope. The secret room was no longer a hidden danger, but a place of remembrance and truth. Slowly, the story of Mark and Lisa reached more people outside. The town reporters wrote articles and news programs shared the case. Many were moved by the couple's courage and saddened by their disappearance. People around the world learned about the importance of standing up for what is right. Even when it is difficult, the families of Mark and Lisa found comfort in knowing their loved ones had tried to protect others from harm. They were proud of the couple's bravery and wanted to honor their memory. The community came together to plan a memorial at the beach house, a place where people could remember Mark and Lisa and the lessons their story taught. While the full details of what happened to Mark and Lisa were still being uncovered, the investigation had already brought hope and healing. Silence that had lasted for so long was broken. The truth was shining through the darkness. Sarah often thought about the strength it took for Mark and Lisa to face such danger. She hoped their story would inspire others to be brave and to seek justice. She knew that sometimes greatest courage is to keep hoping when all seems lost. As the investigation moved forward, new discoveries were made. Police found evidence of secret meetings, messages between the smugglers, and plans to keep their operation hidden. They used this evidence to build strong cases against those responsible. The town, once afraid and silent, now felt safer. People spoke openly about the past and worked together to prevent similar dangers. The story of Mark and Lisa became a reminder that even the quietest places can hide secrets, on that courage and truth can bring light to the darkest mysteries in time. The police arrested several people connected to the illegal smuggling business. Some faced trial, and others cooperated to help the investigation. The families of Mark and Lisa attended the court hearings, seeking justice for their loved ones, though Mark and Lisa's fate was never fully revealed. The discovery of the secret room and the reopening of the case gave their families peace. They finally knew why the couple had disappeared, and that their courage had helped stop something harmful. The beach house was restored with care and respect. It became a small museum and memorial, welcoming visitors who wanted to learn about the couple's story. Sarah continued to care for the house, proud to be part of the journey to bring truth and healing. Mark and Lisa's story showed that even after many years, justice can be found. It reminded people that hope is powerful and that the truth will always find a way to be heard. After the police arrested those involved in the illegal smuggling operation, the small town began to change. The silence that had hung over the beach community for so many years was finally broken. The truth about what happened to Mark and Lisa was now out in the open, though the exact details of their fate were still not completely known. The discovery of the hidden room and the reopening of the case had given many people a sense of closure. The families of Mark and Lisa felt a mixture of emotions. They were still sad about the loss of their loved ones, but they were grateful to know that their disappearance had not been in vain. The courage of Mark and Lisa, who had uncovered something dangerous and tried to stand up for what was right, became a source of pride and strength for their families. But they knew their story would not be forgotten. The community came together to honor the memory of Mark and Lisa. A special memorial was created near the beach house. It was a quiet, peaceful place with flowers, benches, and a plaque that told the story of the couple who vanished in 1997. Visitors who came to the town could stop by to remember them and to reflect on the importance of bravery and truth. Sarah, the woman who had bought and restored the beach house, continued to care for it with great respect. She opened the house to visitors who wanted to learn about the story. The secret room was preserved as it had been found, with the photographs and journal on display. Many people were moved by the couple's story and left feeling inspired by their courage. Over time, the town began to heal from the fear and mystery that had clouded it for so long. The illegal smuggling business was gone, and the people who had lived in fear were now free to live without worry. The story of Mark and Lisa helped bring the community closer together. They learned the value of honesty, courage, and standing up for what is right. Schools in the town even included the story in their lessons, teaching children about the importance of bravery and the power of truth. Mark and Lisa became a symbol of hope, reminding everyone that even in difficult times, it is possible to make a difference. Sarah often thought about how much the house had changed since she found the secret room. What had once been a place of fear and mystery was now filled with light and hope. She felt proud to have played a part in uncovering the truth and helping the families find peace. The story of Mark and Lisa spread beyond the town it was shared. In books, articles, and even a documentary, people everywhere learned about the young couple who had disappeared but had left behind a legacy of courage and strength. Their story touched hearts and reminded people to never stop searching for the truth. Though the past held sadness, it also held lessons. Mark and Lisa's courage showed that even when faced with danger, standing up for what is right is important. Their story became a reminder that no matter how long it takes, justice can be found, and peace can come. For the families, the memorial was a place to visit and feel close to their loved ones. It helped them heal from the pain of so many years without answers. They found comfort knowing that Mark and Lisa's story was remembered and that their bravery had changed lives. The beach house became a symbol of hope for many. It stood as a reminder that sometimes the truth is hidden but never lost. With patience, courage, and the help of others, even the deepest mysteries can be solved. Mark and Lisa's story taught the town and the world that love, hope, and bravery are powerful forces. Though they had vanished many years ago, their spirit lived on. Their journey inspired others to be brave and to stand up for what is right, no matter how hard it may seem. And so, the couple who had disappeared from their beach rental in 1997 became a lasting part of the town's history. Their story, revealed by a hidden room 27 years later, showed that sometimes the greatest truths are found when we least expect them, and that courage can shine through even the darkest mysteries.